Okay. Hello, everyone. We'll obviously get started with the more formal stuff once the thing's underway. This wonderful broken mess of a game. Still sort of broken because it's been the New Year break. I mean, we're 12 days into the New Year, but you know. I mean, we haven't had any updates for Forza Horizon 4, Halo Infinite. Um, they've got key issues. So does this game. So, anyway, I'm gonna let reserves open. So yeah, I am just gonna check if the stream is going as normal. Just anyway, am I gonna get an advert? Yep, it's going good. Okay, I can turn this down and not have the crappy advert in the way. Awesome stuff, quality stuff. So we have 16 in. I'm gonna make sure everyone's in as expected. We've got 16 entrants in tonight, so full qualifying as expected. Hope my mic's okay. It seemed to be okay through that little sample that I had. So check Aston Martin. Yep, same guys. Alfa Romeo. Coco's not there. You, my friend. Because we've got... Are we waiting on... Yeah, there's a few people not showing up tonight, but... One Alpha Tauri. It's pretty scattered, but there's a lot of people here regardless, like... It's gonna do the final checkout. I guess people can join later on, but I just want to make sure, just in case. There's War Machine in here. He is in the Ferrari. Good. Alright. Maze already up. Let's get going. Right, we're underway. Everyone's readying up. And while that's happening, I'm gonna check my kind of newly fixed computer that I mean, I have a laptop. Most people do. I managed to low-key fix a screen issue I had on it by bending it. Almost bending a connector back into shape almost. It's weird. But it is what it is. We'll be underway in under 10 seconds. Season opener for Division 3 in Rapid Racing League's Australian Division will be underway. Here we go. I did do full quality, didn't I? Yeah. Probably a bit late to panic about that, but anyway. Says the pit wall once again. We are back. Welcome back, everyone. Hope you've had a good holiday. Hope you haven't no, the word's caught. Hope you haven't caught COVID, because it's been absolutely everywhere. Absolutely everywhere in Australia. I think we've been some of the highest, like we're among the highest transmissions with like countries. How's that, Ray Sox? Yeah, hey, look, it happens. I mean, these incidents happen. It's annoying. I had a good run. I reckon it's good that I had such a good run. I'm happy I had a good run, but it is what it is. the hell's happening over the Merc pit wall? It's like it's raining inside the pit wall only, and we're still waiting on someone, or not, but the game just can't load properly. But yeah, hello everyone. I'll repeat myself once again. This is the Division 3 in Rapid Racing League, part of the Australian part of Rapid Racing League. I'm your host, SD Romulus. I'm an admin of the Rapid Racing League Discord. We have a Discord for people who are new. You can check that out. There should be a link. Someone will probably send a link below. But we're underway. First qualifying session of the season is underway. I'm going to enable all this because I made a long, crappy skit about, well, not even really a skit, but just about how it resets at every session. Next race is yours, yeah. I mean, I love Imola. I hated Imola at first when it came out, and I'm like, God, I can't get my head around this track. And then it just clicked. It just sort of clicked one day. I got a good setup on there, and I had a ripper of a race in Div1 last season. But we're on board with the Red Bull. There's an Aston Martin out on track as well. It's collapsed for life. We only have 16 cars in. Of course, we might get more later on, but a few people are no-shows tonight, which is sort of understandable. It's still early in the year. I guess everyone's... I don't know. From my perspective, I can kind of understand it because people would be slowly just getting used to the new year. I know. I take a while for that. But we've got plenty of cars out on track. We've got 6 cars, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 because I can see the AlphaTauri. 7 now because there's an Alpine coming out on track. Unless, yes, it is an Alpine. It's hard to tell because of the different shades of blue. And if you're new to Formula 1, yeah, the 2021 season had like 4 different shades of blue for cars, which was really stupid. And first car that will likely cross the start-finish line is Bremer. Did well last season. I can't remember what the standings were. I could probably check the standings if I'm going to be honest. I'm actually going to give them a quick peep because he was a pretty consistent performer. He had a few pole positions under his belt, and I think he had a couple of race wins as well. So he did pretty good, actually. Here we go. I've got the standings here. Bremer. For some reason, it's not showing me him. Unless for some reason they just forgot to include him in this division standings. Well, anyway, I do remember him being here, and he did pretty good. He did pretty good. We're seeing many returning faces, many returning gamer tags, actually, but also many new gamer tags this year, like Levzert XRT. I'll just call him XRT. He's still in the garage, but got on board with Bremer, driving the FW43B, the Williams. Quite a nice car, actually. This livery grew on me over the 2021 season, and I wonder what they're going to do for this coming year. It's the F1 preseason hype again. There's a little bit of hype going around because Ferrari and McLaren are rumoured to use pull rod suspensions, which is something Ferrari... I mean, other teams have likely used it, but the biggest example I can think of is Ferrari back in 2012. Worked for Alonso, but plenty of cars are out on track right now. They're all crossing the start-finish line. We're going to go on board with Bremer, and we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1. It is a Haas. It's Japs. Zaps? Claps? Japs? I'm just going to call him Japs. Oh, that sounds like Japs. No, I'm just going to call him Claps. There you go, that'll do. Williams goated. Yeah, I mean, they pulled off some pretty heroic performances last season in the real world of Formula 1. And the drivers last season were pretty good midfielders too in Div3. The first season of Div3. So this is going to be a full calendar season. Follows the same format that Division 2 and Division 1 follow. Full qualifying, 50% race distance. So it's very much a test of endurance. Also a test of how far you can push your car without the back end giving out on it, like on turn 9 that we just passed, for example. Bremer sets a purple first sector, and a couple of cars have not been able to beat him. He's still got purple first sector. We've got Claps again. Does he have front wing damage? He's very slow. But back to Bremer. As he crosses the final corner onto the main start-finish straight, he activates DRS with a minute precise press and sets a 1:28.2 as the first timed lap of the session. There's an Aston Martin behind him. We're going to see what the Aston Martin sets. Oh, the Aston Martin might have been validated. We're going to see what the Red Bull sets. He sets RNG Salty sets a 1:30.2. So he's got a bit of time to catch up. He's 2 seconds behind as Dimmer crosses the line and I'm a Bird both cross the line. So we've got 3 cars in the 1:28 range. Salty's had a pretty slow lap, but I believe going by his pace, he's coming back out there. So we have an AlphaTauri of NRL Gasly setting a 1:28.6. So no one's been able to touch Bremer so far. Bremer set a pretty decent lap, all things considered. Rango Killer sets a 1:29.3 and Rapid McNeil sets a 1:41.5. So I suspect that was absolutely a banker lap. And he is going to be setting a much more competitive lap on this lap. We're going to go on board with him and we're going to see what he does. And this, at least for this first sector, should be mildly interesting because it's a relatively simple sector to get right. and there's so little room for error because of its simplicity. And I think that's part of why I like this track. I mean, I suck at this track, but I like it. It's a good track. I think it's pretty good. He's up a 10th, so my guess is he was relatively even in the first sector. He might have set up a fast lap until he spun out somewhere. That's my guess. Claps for life. Got McLaren slow. It's your boy here. Crosses the final turn onto the start-finish straight. Activates DRS with minute precision. He sets a 128.8. Pretty close to Dimmer, but 6/10 behind the current provisional pole sitter, Bremer. Bremer does improve though. He sets a 127.7. So we are in the 127 bracket as Claps for Life sets the second fastest time of a 128.3. I'm a bird. Had the fourth fastest time. That's a mighty effort from him. He's going to dive straight into the pit lane. RNG Salty improved to set a 128.758. I'm checking. We have an Alpha Tauri. Could be Gasly, actually. It is Gasly. He's diving straight into the pit lane. We have a Williams, not far behind. Could be... No, it's an Alpine. Is it an Alpine? I don't know. There's so many shades of blue. It still throws me off. Hope this isn't lagging. Do let me know if the stream is lagging. Although on my end, on my phone, using data, it seems to be doing pretty good. As Urban Growth sets a 145.4, so I suspect he's had an off somewhere and has had to come back out. Mad Dog is there, not far behind him, as we see Mercedes of McNeil go into the pit lane. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That is a slow Alpine. Is it a slow Alpine? It's Rango Killer. Rango Killer's a little slow, unless he's out of fuel. I suspect that's very likely. War Machine sets at 129.5. So plenty of cars have set times. Only one will go out though. If one will go out. Yeah, me. Yeah, it's me on comps. But yeah, so it's your boy here. Improves. Sets a 128.1. Creeps ever so closely to Bremer's current fastest time. It's not enough to get him into the 127 bracket, as we see Urban Growth go P5 with a 128.5, and Claps does a 128.3. So Urban Growth gets out of the way of the Alpine. Oh, I thought I saw someone dive straight into the wall there, but that was Mad Dog starting his run uphill into the first sector. Let's see what he sets. This is how he approaches his braking zone rather nicely, gears down rather nicely. Does he power out just as effectively as he did? Yeah, he's come out there quite nicely. He's going to set a neat time there. He set a purple first sector, actually, so that was a decent effort there from Mad Dog. As we see Dimmer go to P3 with a 128.311. So solid stuff so far. It's been pretty close, I've got to say. It's been close. 1 second separating the top 9 currently. And we've got plenty more people setting times. We're on board with XRT. Which sounds so awfully similar to HRT, Holden Racing Team. Don't know why I brought up that comparison. I figured I just would. Nah, it's all good, mate. I appreciate the offer, but I'm happy to commentate solo. So I'm board with Urban Growth. Warming his tyres up, potentially for another run. They look pretty clean, so... Don't know why he'd be going out for another run. But, track knowledge is important. Knowing how far you can push the car around these corners is important, particularly up this uphill section here. Turns 8 and 9, I'm pretty sure they are. They are very random. Can't get a feel for those corners all that well. So we have no new improvements set on the board. We're still waiting on 3 people to set times, as we're on board with XRT, who's just started going through turn 1. Lines up with the apex quite nicely. How does he handle this tricky set of corners? Beautifully. Does he gets on the DRS? Very quick down the straight line here. I'm going to see if he set up favors a straight line part of the track that is just as important as the more technical parts, but it's very difficult to get the setup right around this track because you have rear stability and all that to take into account. But XRT sets the fastest first sector, so that's a very good showing from him. As Hardwich sets a time good enough for P7 with a 128.571, so very close to his teammate actually, and I believe his teammate's also setting a time. So Piastri is also out on a lap. So that means everyone will be doing their laps. McNeil's is also doing a lap, or Rapid McNeil. He was formerly McNeil's, now he's Rapid McNeil. He has joined the Rapid crew, the ever-expanding Rapid crew. A group of people who are, affiliated obviously with Rapid Racing League. We also have AMG, which there are no people present tonight from AMG. We have another one. I actually can't remember, but I'll remember it at some point. Also, This lap also, I don't know what they've done with the Microsoft Store, but it's rubbish. The new version's rubbish. We have Piastri spun. Ah, he spun on the uphill turn of fate. So he spun where no one wants to spin. My game's dropped its frame rate to 30 for some reason, as the Williams of XRT goes 6th fastest with a 128.421. So decent first lap there from him. Very decent, if I say so myself. That's going to keep him comfortably in the top 10 for as far as we can see. The gap to him and the top 10 is literally only just 2/10, but Urban Growth actually does upserve him there and go P6 with a 128.400 on the dot. So very good lap there from Urban Growth. Very consistent urban lap. Very consistent qualifying lap from Urban Growth. Hardwidge, though, does beat his teammate and goes P3 with a 128.2. But no one's been able to top Bremer yet. None, in fact, other than Bremer, has gotten into the 127s. So mighty effort there from Bremer to set such a blistering lap. That's Div 2 pace, mate. You keep that up all year, going straight to the Div 2. Now we're on board with SFR Piastri. We're going to see how he handles, how his time fares in Sector 1. Does he set purple? He does not set purple, but he's up. And judging by him being up in Sector 1, he's definitely set... Oh, he's gone very wide there. Had to probably control the rear there from fishtailing out. Trust me, I know that all too well. Those curbs are very unforgiving on that part of the track. Everyone has seemingly set semi-competitive times. Everyone is within about 2 seconds of each other, so very, very close field here. That's a theme I've seen in Div 2 and Div 1, is that the field is getting ever so closer. People are understanding the game a bit more and people are getting within track limits, pushing their setups and the track to the max, or track limits to the max anyway. Some tracks are better than others. Oh, Piastri, he loses it again! And he did nearly what I did when I first got this game in the exact same car. So poor dude, he set a purple second sector, so that was blistering from him. But unfortunately, the rear of the car, because apparently downforce doesn't exist in this game, just gave up on him. So I feel for Piastri there. He had a good lap there. Fortunately, it just fell under him. And that sort of stuff ruins your confidence too, because you don't quite know how hard you can push there. You don't quite know what the line is, because sometimes you'll go through there and you'll be quick through there. You'll gain time ahead of the car behind you. Others, you'll be even, or you'll spin. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and I personally find that part of the track one of the hardest in the game, just because of that. So we're on board with RRL Gasly, who gets a purple second sector. He's 5/10 up. That's mighty there from him. I believe this is his first race, actually. I could be wrong. I'll have to check, but setting a good first impression. We've seen Aston Martin of Claps for Life go P2 with a 128.1. We're going to see what Gasly can do, though, because he set a blistering second sector. He's about to cross the start-finish line, and he goes P2 with a 128.0. So Bremer has been the pace sitter. No one's been able to touch him or the 127 bracket, but Gasly, with 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go, is the closest to Bremer. So mighty stuff there from RRL Gasly to get that close on his first race in Div 3. So we've got Claps for Life on a slow lap. He might be going back in, he might be getting ready for another lap. There's not much traffic behind him, so he's got the luxury of taking as much time as he needs. So, decent time set so far, if I'm going to be honest. The 128 bracket in particular, from 2nd to 12th, that is mighty. And 13th and 14th even are very close to it. They just need the smallest of improvements to get into that 128 bracket, to gain more positions. As it stands, if Piastri can't set a lap though, he'll be out in Q1. The sole person out in Q1, we have a slow Aston Martin. There could be Claps for Life for Ritzy Boy here. It is for Claps for Life. I'm going to refer to him as Claps. Well, I think that's an STD, so I hope that's not an insult, but I think it is an STD. I was called STD at one point when with some old mates from Queensland when we played Rainbow Six Siege. They'd call me STD. They meant it in a heartfelt manner, as much as heartfelt an STD can be. But anyway, getting used to this whole commentary jig again. It's been what, 3 weeks now since I last did it, and yeah, definitely something I'm not terribly familiar with. But Williams is absolutely on top today. Yeah, XRT's shown a good start. It's shown a good, promising debut in the Williams in 9th right now, and Bremer has been the current pace sitter. That is a mighty lap from him there. So got Claps for Life setting a lap. There's plenty of traffic in front of him, but they'll hopefully get out of the way or they'll be on their own laps and therefore not an issue for him. I'm going to see how he handles these next set of corners. He's slower in Sector 1, only by a fraction though. You can obviously make that up in Sector 2. Sector 2 is arguably the meat and potatoes of your lap. You can make up a lot of time by getting the braking zones right and understanding the braking zones. Also turn 9, because turn 9's cursed. Yeah, Perks is in the Williams in Div 2. Him and I had a really good battle. Had a couple of really good battles. I actually had a couple of really good battles with a lot of the Div 2 guys. A lot of the Div 2 guys who are former Div 3 guys. Some of them are, like Daff and Perks. Yeah, they were really good to race with. And they've absolutely shown that they're Div 2 and even Div 1 worthy if they can keep that consistency. I really like racing with these guys. There's a bunch of guys in Div 2 and Div 1 that I really like racing with. Some less so. but no, I genuinely like everyone. Everyone's really chill. And hopefully again this year we'll have more chill Division 3 chat, as Division 3 was known for its sort of drama in the Discords. We have a Discord, it's Rapid Racing League. I actually need to get the link for it at some point, but anyway. Collapse goes into the pit lane, and we have a Mercedes of McNeil's. Oh, did Dimmer lose it there? No, he didn't. He's up by 2/10 though in Sector 2. Good enough for purple. So, obviously the Sector 2 times are pretty close as well, if we're seeing a lot of purples in Sector 2, especially this late in. Normally you wouldn't see much of an improvement maybe, but it's hard to say. As RNG Salty retires in the pit lane, having set the 11th fastest time. I've got this constant gas feeling of needing to burp, but that's mighty impressive from Dimmer to go P3 with a 1:28.1. His first race in Rapid Racing League, time good enough for P3 as NRL Gasly retires from session. Like I say, Bremer, personally, from what I've seen, can keep those consistent laps. He's quick and quali. Even he says in the chat mostly, so yeah, he can. My qualifying is not that good, I've got to be honest. My qualifying's rubbish. Although I did get into Q3 in Div 1, but Urban Growth goes up into P7 with a 1:28.2. So not much activity. We're seeing a few cars still out there, but a bulk majority of them are sitting in the pits. Well, actually, it's about a 50-50 split, actually. Just looks a little more biased towards the pit lane because of how tightly spaced together the cars are in the pit lane on the icons in the bottom right corner. But we've got a Mercedes coming down. It could be McNeil's. It is indeed McNeil's. Does he improve? He is currently bottom of the timesheet. He does. He only goes up to P15, but it's good enough to get him into the 128 bracket. So that 128 bracket extends from 2nd to 15th. That is mighty. That is mighty close from everyone there. So currently, last place, and we're on board with him right now, War Machine. He'll be the person eliminated if he can't improve. We're going to be on board with him. We're going to see how he improves his lap. Takes as much curb as he absolutely can there. So he's absolutely using the full brevity of the track. See how he handles his braking. Brakes quite nicely through the apex there. Comes out quite nicely on the wide side of that track. Can go a bit wider there, but he's just a fraction slower. Nevertheless, he can keep soldiering on. He's gone very wide though. Still within track limits somehow, but he's gone very wide there. His setup might be a bit too speed focused, if I'm going to be honest. Would be good for the race though, because that means you won't need as much ERS to overtake people with DRS. You know, the ERS-DRS combo is very powerful down this back straight. It's a very long back straight. As we see plenty of cars finishing up as Evan Growth has stopped his next hot lap. Might retire from session as there is no time left to start another lap. Piastri though, out of nowhere. I can't believe I didn't notice this, but Piastri from 15th goes P2 with a 1:28.0 flat. So Gasly and him are super close. So that was a mighty lap there from SFR Piastri. Sorry I didn't notice that. I'm going to go back on board with War Machine, who's slightly slower in Sector 2, but he could still gain. We're going to see if he can gain anything. No, he cannot. He is slower, so he is out. He's the sole person out in Q1. By not much though, only 4/10. But the rest of the field is so tightly packed together that 1st to 15th are within a fraction over a second. Mighty effort there from everyone to keep it so competitive and so close. That bodes very well for the race, if I say so myself, because that means we're going to have some very close racing. Most importantly, some clean racing too, because we haven't seen any incidents on track. This track is wide though, thankfully. It's a very wide and forgiving track with plenty of runoff. And, well, depending on... Sector 2 in particular is friendly with spinning off, except for Turn 9. Although Turn 9 is like a 50-50 getting away. Yeah, you and Dimmer are super close. So are Piastri and Gasly though. Like those two are super close. And then of course we've got 4 cars in the 128.2 bracket, which is amazing. And McNeil's I forgot to mention, and I do apologise, but you did a lap good enough to go into P10 with a 128.288. The bottom of the 128.2 bracket, but still mighty effort there. Mighty consistent between those guys. What a Q1 that was. Very good way to start off the season, to be honest. That was a very good session to watch. There you go. First to 14th within exactly 1.011 seconds of each other. That is insane. Reasons in case we... Oh, yeah, screenshot function still works. Good. Yeah, it's absolutely mad, Goffy. I know. It's brilliant stuff. So, Bremer, though, 2.7 tenths. Like, over 2.5 tenths ahead of second place. So Bremer has been absolutely rapid. That was an incredible lap from Bremer. Will he keep that consistency going into Q2 and Q3? We'll find out shortly. As it ends in now. So we're starting Q2. It's also very warm in here, which is not helping my commentary at all. I mean, it being humid makes things more uncomfortable, and therefore I'm probably more prone to screwing things up, because it's just the way it is with me. But session will start in... Oh, Gasly's left the session. He'll probably be back. Probably some technical difficulties there. This game is awash with technical difficulties. There we go. We are back for Q2. So only one car didn't make it into Q2. That was unfortunately War Machine. Valiant effort from him though. Of course, it's only 16th, so he has plenty of opportunities to get into the points-paying positions. Strategies are wild here. They're varied. They're abundant. A lot of people go on 2 stops. Sometimes I've seen 3 stops. I saw a 3-stopper. I saw like 2 3-stoppers in Div 2. I mean, I did... What did I do? I did a 2-stopper personally. But... As we see, a Haas out in front. It's Claps. Or is that Jap? I'm gonna ask this dude, how the fuck do you pronounce your name? Because with all due respect, X is not necessarily a letter that's common in pronunciation for words or names even. X-Laps. Thank you, Claps. X-Laps and Claps. Okay. Should have both been in the same team. X-Laps and Claps. Would have been a funny little thing there. There you go. Gasly's come back. Welcome back. Hopefully any technical issues you've had have been solved. So how's everyone's holidays been? How was New Year's? Hopefully you haven't gotten COVID. Oh, you hate each other. That's very unfortunate. As long as you two don't get in each other's way on the track and don't actively harm each other on track, you know, ruin the league racing experience for each other, then we'll just let it be as it is. It is unfortunate though when people don't like each other. I mean, there are many people I don't like in life, to be honest. That's just a human thing, to be fair. But, yeah, it's definitely... Yeah, I miss seeing you race, Goffy, because you were a good midfielder. You were good to watch. You were clean. You kept out of trouble. And you were very respectful of the cars around you. So, well, in the game too, especially with the varying latencies that everyone has when it comes to, you know, online gaming. You did really well. And yeah, rarely if ever saw you retire from a race. So we're on board with X-Laps. He's going through Sector 1, just about to wrap up Sector 1 right now. He's going through the uphill section. I should really grab a track map, but I can't be asked. It says a 28.393, which is good enough for purple, and the cars behind him haven't quite been able to match that. Oh, I'm a bird goes super wide. He has an Aston Martin behind him for company. He's also on an outlap on different compounds. So this could produce some fireworks, because the speed that you'll get from the different compounds will absolutely cause conflict on hot laps. But Claps for Life is handling himself pretty good there, although he's being held up slightly by Armour Bird there. Them both turning on DRS. Them not getting out of each other's way could spark some fireworks later on. He might go for an outside dive. This isn't the race yet, fellas. That's on in the end of Q3. I'd recommend chilling a bit, but if they're able to get competitive laps by following each other for the entire lap, And this is going to be quite the spectacle to watch, to be honest. We've only got like one and a bit turns left. We're going to go back on board with X laps and see what he can set. He was pretty quick. So we're going to see he crosses the DRS point and next to the start finish line, 1:28.503. So not bad there from him. Not quite pace setting, but Claps for Life actually outpaced I'm a Bird by 0.8 of a second as Rango Killer goes fastest with a 1:28.4 and Salty sets a 1:29.0 on the soft tyre. Oh, do we have... What happened there? Did they both crash into each other? No front wings for either of them. So I'm guessing they've had an incident from trying another lap, because I'm a Bird would have absolutely had another lap set in mind. I did not see that, Claps, but if you've got a recording of that, do send that into the stewards section of the Div3 chat. Reminder that harassing anyone is not allowed. Just send your evidence in. We'll send the admins through to have a look at the footage. We'll review it. We'll determine an outcome for you. Dimas sets a 1:28.481, which is 3 something seconds like ahead of Rango Killer. So it's super close between Dimmer and Rango Killer. But I'm a Bird's currently set the slowest time, but he has no front wings, so he sadly has to go back in and get a new front wing. Fortunately, his time was set on the medium tyre, so if he needs to set another time, he can come back out. Claps for Life, without a front wing, also set a 1:29.0. Yeah, so plenty of time to set another lap, don't worry about it, as X Laps goes faster with a 1:28.378. So quality lap there from X Laps. Got a Red Bull behind him, it could be RNG Salty, he does go indeed quicker, he sets a 1:28.699. Nice. Very nice effort there from him. Got NRL Gasly on the medium tyre, and it's a boy here on the soft tyre setting a purple first sector. So good effort there from him. So yeah, going back to New Year's plans briefly, yeah, mines were cancelled due to several of my good friends getting COVID, so that wasn't great. They've fortunately since recovered with little issues. Nasty virus to still get. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's staying safe. And continues to do so over this tumultuous period. Did I say that right? I don't know. I know some English words. I don't know plenty. They do say English is a bitch of a language. And for good reason, to be honest. Because English kind of sucks. You see, Romance languages like Portuguese and France and Spain, French, not France, France is a country, French and Spain. It's a boy here sets the fastest time with a 1:28.1. I just saw someone going off-road. It was RNG Salty in the Red Bull. Anyway, yeah, those Romance languages, they often share words. They use the same word for various different things instead of us using, like, I'm trying to think of any examples, but there are, like, you know, words with same meanings, like PH and F having the same phonic sort of sound. I saw that, Salty. Trying to bait people. NRL Gasly sets the current slowest time on the medium tyre. So we see I'm a Bird back out with a fresh front wing and medium tyres. So good stuff there. So we see XRT on an outlap on the soft tyre. Bremer is still in the garage. He's cool, he's collected. He's got no worries. Mad Dog is also out on an outlap in the Alpine. Still in the garage. Piastri is about to start his lap. He's invalidated that out lap, but he hasn't invalidated the hot lap, so he'll be lucky to start that as planned, thankfully. Sometimes you get the invalidation of both laps, and that's mighty annoying, I'll say the least. But yeah, going back to the Red Bull Honda, I will absolutely miss Honda in F1. I know it's technically the same still, you know, the engines are still the same, it's just going to be rebranded, but I don't know, I feel like the engineering ambition of Honda in the 90s, like the last bit of that was in this F1 program. Because as much as it was a joke at first, and they wanted to pull out after the 2017 season, they were thinking of it if they didn't get an engine supplier, because Sauber pulled out at one point, because it was going to be Sauber Honda for 2018, and then Sauber pulled out of that. So for a while there, it looked like no one was going to join, and then Toro Rosso went, okay, we'll take the Honda engine, because Red Bull didn't like the Renault engine, and were using their B team, or now sister team, to search out new engine partners, and Honda was the way to go. And of course, the spirit, you know, the spirit that Toro Rosso and Honda had to keep on improving and to never give up from 2018 till 2021 is just an engineering marvel for me personally. The effort that they put in to make that engine as good as it was will always impress me for as long as I live, to be honest. So they went from the worst engine on the grid to an engine so reliable they could have ran just 3 of them within the engine allocation for the entire 22 race season. And I don't know about you, but that's mighty impressive, considering Mercedes for so long has been so dominant in Formula 1. To see Honda just suddenly go from being a laughingstock to being that good, always mighty impressive. SFR Piastri sits at 128.7 on the medium tyre. Plenty of people are opting to set their times on the medium tyre for strategy advantage, because the longer tyre, the longer you go, you know, it obviously works out quite nicer to go on the medium tyre. As much as you won't quite have the traction off the start-finish line and you won't have the cornering speed, you will last longer without needing to pit, and that helps with track position if your pace is consistent. So hello Noodles. Howdy mate. I didn't see you there, but welcome mate. Well, shit in it. You probably heard me ramble on about Honda and Formula 1 for a bit there, sorry mate. As we have a Williams of XRT cross the line, sets a 128.7 on the soft tyre. And we had a McLaren in front, it was Urban Growth I'm pretty sure. Oh, was it? No, it was Hardwich starting a flying lap. But yeah, I didn't see your P2 Noodles. I wish I did, because good stuff there. Had I not gotten a penalty and then also not gotten crashed and not crashed out, I reckon I could have got a podium too around Bahrain in Div 2, which would have been quite lovely if I'm going to be honest, because this track I have a love-hate relationship with. Just watching this race for the graphic. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Couldn't believe Alpine didn't update their engine. Well, I mean, of course it's Renault engine, but Alpine, but I was genuinely surprised to see that they hadn't updated their engine for the whole season. And if anything, the Alpine seemed to be better as the season went on. Because of course, we know it was a good midfield contender earlier on in the 2021 season, as Bremer goes 9th fastest, slower than his teammate on the medium tyre, so that's quite the shock there. But about pace accurate actually when you compare the compounds, because he set the 127.7 on the soft tyre and he set a 128.8 on the mediums. Of course, if he gets 4/10ths quicker, he's going to be safe and secure in Q3. As it stands though, the top 10 are within about a 10th of not a 10. God, if it was that close, I would honestly quit league racing, because if it's that close, then my god, there's so much pressure. But it's still quite a high pressure environment with 1st to 10th being within a second of each other. That's mighty effort from everyone there to be super consistent. So we have Rapid McNeil getting out of Mad Dog's way, and Bremer getting out of Mad Dog's way. Oh, and there's more traffic. There's plenty of traffic down in Sector 2 actually. Everyone's concentrated within Sector 1 and Sector 2, as we have a McLaren mowing the little lawn that is on this track. There is, I think it's all synthetic grass in the real world, but, you know, one can dream. Yeah, there's absolutely some very decent drivers on this grid. Very decent drivers. Div 2 worthy, some maybe even Div 1, if they can continue being so bloody fast, and if they can convert their impressive qualifying pace into equally impressive race pace. As he goes through the kitty litter, as my dad used to call it. It's just the gravel trap, but Dad called it the kitty litter. And I used to call that a lot when I was a kid. Don't even know half the grid here. Yeah, there's quite a few new faces, I gotta say. Some people have changed their names. There's plenty of guys here from last season though. There's a few new faces here, like X-Laps, Dimmer, Claps, I believe is brand new as well. And XRT and RRL Gasly, they're all new. But the rest are from last season. So they've had a full season, or about a season, season 1 was half a season. But they all got to kind of get acquainted with how they all drive in the game anyway. We're not seeing much movement though further up, as X-Laps goes 4/10ths quicker, nearly 5/10ths quicker actually in Sector 2, so that's quite interesting. So we're going to see what his time is as he crosses the DRS point, and now the start-finish line. He sets a 127.8, so he's the second person to go into the 127 range. So good lap there from X-Laps to get there. It's your boy here is P2 with a 128.1. We're seeing another Aston Martin cross the start-finish line. He's only marginally quicker. 0.035 quicker for Claps for Life, and it further cements his P5, and potentially further cements he's already high chances of staying in the Q3. Bremer is up 0.3 of a second and has set purple second sector on the medium tyre. So, can you race? No. No. Mate, come on. Look at the fastest lap right now, mate. What was your quali lap? If you're checking the stream right now and you're checking the chat, make sure you see what Noodles is not Q1, but Q3 time. Oh no, he didn't even get into Q3, whoops. But what was his time good enough for P13 in Div 1? So I bet you it was faster than everyone else here. And that's not a mark against these guys here in Div 3. Oh, Noodles full TC. Yeah, I was going to say, Noodles has been running this without... running without traction control lately. The madman. No traction and a controller. So I'm one of the only guys in... Well, one of the only former Div 1 guys still running on the controller with medium traction control. As X-Labs is celebrating by maxing out that Ferrari engine. Another engine that was very reliable this year, actually. I mean, Ferrari did hit the allocation limit, but they had to do that via an upgrade, as Urban Growth retires from session, fascinatingly enough. He's going to be out, so unless he's done that on the medium tyre, I mean, that doesn't make sense. Unless he's not able to get into the top 10 on the soft tyre and just opted to retire now and plan out his strategy, as we see Hunter Hardwidge here going on his potential final flying lap, unless he can get into that top 10. We've got 6 seconds left. We have an Aston Martin about to start, about to cross. No, he's diving into the pits. He's content with P6. Dimmer and Rango Killer and X-Laps have had all their time sealed, as we see Bremer go, wow, P3 on the mediums, eh? Yeah, Bremer's quick. He's managed to really seal the deal this race tonight. I was about to say this weekend, but I realise how stupid that sounds, because it's not over a weekend. So we see XRT improve, we see McNeil's go P3 on the soft tyre. And we see an AlphaTauri of NRL Gasly improve by a little bit. It's not enough to get into Q3. He's P11, as we see a damaged car further down a field. That's salty. He's P10 though. And there's not many people improving behind him. In fact, RNG Salty has likely just made it through the skin of his teeth, as XRT, I believe, improved by only a fraction. But that effectively wraps up Q2 for everyone, so as it stands... Oh no, NRL Gasly's still going. Unless he got extra time from that bug. We're going to find out anyway. I'm mighty curious about this, because it doesn't make sense how we managed to start that lap. Yeah, mighty lap there from McNeil. 128.1 there to get him into P3. NRL Gasly goes very wide down the downhill braking zone onto the back straight. Very tricky braking zone to get right. Even trickier if you have no ABS on. It's an absolute nightmare on part of the track. In fact, yeah. The Mercedes boys, yeah, I bet you didn't say that. I bet you're still wishing you were in the Red Bull. But, you know, it's nice to join the dark side every once in a while. Meanwhile, I've gone straight to AlphaTauri from driving for 4 different teams in the last Div 1 season, because I went from being a full-timer to part-timer. So we see Gasly go 3/10 up, nearly 4/10 up in Sector 2. He might be into Q3 here. Salty might be knocked out. Salty is knocked out. Or is he? No, XRT's knocked out. No, that doesn't make sense. It should be Salty. No, he set the slower time. Never mind then. I am wrong. But Gasly sets a 128.293. Good lap there from him to get into P4 on the soft compound tyre. And let's see who set their times on the medium compound. Bremer, Dimmer, Rango Killer. Okay, yeah, Gasly needs to retire. He's had too much time on. He needs to retire. Yeah, I think this game's forgotten how to count, but yeah, we've got 0 seconds left, and because Gasly did leave the session and rejoin, so it's caused this unfortunate bug of him still being able to drive, and I think he's too focused on driving. Yeah, madness, yeah, it's this game. It is absolutely this game. Yeah, I've told Gasly to retire. He's still out and about. Maybe he's just going to dive into the pits to make things longer for us. I'm not sure. Not sure what he's doing, to be honest. But we'll have X laps and Piastri on boards in Q3. So we're going to see their laps as Gasly goes into the pit lane there. So he had a different time to everyone else. I can't get over the fact that this game still can't, adapt to people joining in mid-session. You'd think they'd have this fixed. This wasn't a bug in F1 2020 or 2019, but it is in F1 2021. Thank you, Gasly, for retiring. We're going to see who got eliminated there, because his improvement there did kick someone out, although it is inconsistent as to who was actually kicked out of the session. So we've got 2 cars out, so only 9 make it in. This is... thanks F1 2021. But hopefully that means... Oh, I guess it's because Salty did crash, so maybe it has counted him out as well as not being able to participate. I don't know. As it stands, though, X Laps sets the fastest time in Q2 with a 127.8, sorry. And then further down from him is It's Your Boy here, Rapid McNeil, RRL Gasly, X Bremer, Q1 fastest, currently running 5th in Q2 on the medium tyre, so that's a mighty lap there from X Bremer, sets him up very nicely for Q3. Dimmer, Rango Killer, Claps for Life, and SFR Piastri round out your top 9. So that's your top 9. Eliminated from the session were RNG Salty, XRT, Mad Dog, Urban Growth, and Hunter Hardwidge. 3 of the bottom 5 eliminated are all on the medium tyre, so that bodes pretty well for them. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the end anyway, but they have free choice of tyre for being outside the top 10. But it is what it is. So yeah, only 9 cars in Q3, which shakes things up a little bit, but not significantly so. We've got a Alpine. Do we have an Alpine in? No, we don't. We have a lot of blue, which is throwing me off. We do have an Alpine. Saved by the skin of my teeth there. An Alpine, 2 Aston Martins, 2 Mercedes, 1 Williams, 1 Alfa Romeo, 1 AlphaTauri, and 1 Haas. You saw that qualify. If you saw that top 10 or top 9 in real world F1, people would freak. People would wonder what the hell happened. No, are you kidding me? Game services will be offline for around an hour. So we're going to have maintenance for F1 2019, 2020, and 2021. So 2019, 2020, 2021 all use the same server? That's interesting. So we're on board with Rango Killer. He is not the first car out. That is X Laps once again. Wants to prove a point by being first out. His helmet is reminiscent of mine last game, actually. That's quite a cool lap, actually. But yeah, we're going to go on to ride X Laps' lap. He's redeemed the ride along himself. I don't know what F1 rage is. I'd love to know. Hang on, was that even him? No, that was Noodles who did that. I'm sorry. But he is first. He's going to be first to do this, so we're going to keep an eye on him anyway. Because we've got SFR Piastri going up the uphill section, which links into Sector 3. We're going to have a quick look at. I'm going to quick look at what's going on in the messages. But anyway. So we've got X Laps coming up the uphill section. Piastri is still going down one of the back straights, the massive downhill section. It is downhill. This track is quite elevated, if I'm going to be honest. It's surprisingly elevated. You wouldn't really assume so, but yes, it is. Let's go on board with SFR Piastri, who's walking that fine line between the grass, mowing the lawns, and the tarmac, but he's braked quite nicely. Actually, he's braked a little deep, but he's managed to keep it under control really nicely to come up the uphill straight here. First DRS zone, he presses that button right around the right time. Does he brake nicely? He does brake very nicely. Nails that apex. Goes a little wide, but a little wide doesn't hurt on this track. We're going to see how his Sector 1 fares. He's set a purple Sector 1. Oh, and he's spun! I blame Noodles for that one. Yeah, so... Poor Piastri. His lap's been ruined by a spinala around one of the spin curves. NRL Gasly set a purple second sector, but I believe he's the first. He might be the second. He's the second, actually, as we're going to see X-Laps cross the line. He's going to ride the grass a little bit, actually. That's weird. Might have slowed him down, like, by a little bit there, but he sets a one... Oh, no, he's invalidated. Never mind, then. NRL Gasly goes into the 127.7, so the 127.739. A time I believe is good enough for the fastest outright so far. Bremer is on an outlap as well. He's going to be a favourite for pole, as McNeil sets a 129.416. Dimmer immediately usurps him with a 128.3. So decent lap there. And Rango Killer claps for life, sets a 128.2 on the soft tyre. Decent lap there from him. Yes, Spinata. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, and Dimmer had a good lap. Rango Killer. Yeah, good laps once again. Very close. McNeil's. He will likely go out on the soft tyre to further improve, I'd say. Surprised he's out in the mediums, because if he did get through in the mediums... Well, no, he didn't he? No, he didn't. Maybe he's out, but you do get a special set of soft tyres if you get into Q3 though, so... Maybe he's just testing the medium tyre. So now on board with Bremer. Piastri's gone into the pits, so we'll be back with him the second he comes out for a flying lap. But on board with Bremer now. Does he set a time good enough for purple in the first sector? No, he does not. Well, apparently he doesn't, but it was quicker than Piastri's. Piastri's was a 128.5, Bremer's was a 28.4 in the first sector. But Bremer is handling those corners beautifully there. Car going around, turning in very nicely. Set up very well honed for the circuit. Does he handle the downhill braking zone well? Yes, he does. Nails the apex. Comes out on the back part of the straight. Wonderful effort there from him. Let's see how he handles the tricky uphill section. The trickiest part of the whole track as of this game. Runs very wide, actually. That could cost him a tenth or two. Or... running a fine line there. You could see him correcting the other way to just prevent the car from spinning off, but he sets a purple second sector. So that's a mighty effort there from Bremer. Bremer is in contention for pole here. He's using Rango Killer as a bit of a slipstream, which if anything, him turning like that would have slowed him down. So I don't know why he did that, but we'll see if his time is still good enough for provisional pole in Q3 with 6 minutes left to go on the clock. He crosses the line, sets a 127.8, a tenth between him and Gasly for pole. 2 tenths back is Claps with a 128.0. It's your boy here on a banker lap, it seems. So Bremer was super close in the end there, but couldn't quite reach NRL Gasly's provisional pole time. Nevertheless, there's still plenty of time for him to go back out there on a fresh set and try again. It's your boy here sets a 141.4, which is obviously a banker lap. So that's good. It's good for him. It's probably preserved his tyres a bit. Able to go back out again with a good idea of where he wants to go for his lines and so on. Yeah, I mean, oversteering might work quite well. I mean, it's hard to say what my setup is. I don't really pay much attention to how the setups are in terms of characteristics. I just know that it's track dependent for me if I like understeer or oversteer, but I'm genuinely more biased towards understeer. Particularly in this game, because I want a stable rear end, and if I can have an understeery front end, like a front understeery part of the car at the cost of a really stable rear, then I'll take that. But with how these cars are, the rears are kind of unstable, and it's just thrown me off significantly as a result, which is why I'm a little more timid when it comes to qualifying. Hell, even on race pace, I'm a little timid. If there's cars around me, I'm very skittish and trying to avoid contact. And, you know, trying to keep some consistency, trying to not spin the car or anything like that. It's the last thing I want to do. So as a result, sometimes I'm often quite slower. So X laps is, I mean, unless he's invalidated that, but I don't think he's invalidated the next lap. We're going to see him start a new lap. Possibly his final flying lap as Piastri comes out of the pit lane. We can see the Alfa Romeo and the Haas intersect with each other quite nicely, but not getting each other's way. That would have been a good photo to take. I don't know why the F1 photographers don't take shots of cars side by side like that. That'd be really cool to watch. But anyway, see, it's your boy here. He set a time good enough for P4. He's a 10th behind his teammate, so that's rather surprising. I think he's out for another full lap though. It looks like he is, going by how quick he is right now. How he's turning into turn 3. I think that's turn 3. Is that turn 3? He's up by 2/10 in Sector 1 though, so it doesn't matter. He's still improved. And that means he's deadly serious about improving his lap time, as the top two, the front row currently, are still in their respective garages. The time that they have to come out and to try and beat each other or solidify their positions is ever so shrinking. With Claps for Life apparently a 10th down, but purple? This game can't count still, I see. So that's just great. I'm going to see what his time's good enough for. Does he improve here? It's looking decent. No, he's going to dive straight into the pit lane. So that's interesting. We see X-Laps, who hasn't set a time yet. He set a purple second sector, but given someone who was slower on their previous best set a purple sector, it's hard to say if he's genuinely set a purple sector. But we're still going to keep an eye on X-Laps' final qualifying lap, arguably anyway. Crosses the line, sets a 1:27.9. So very close between the top 3 here. Actually very close between the top 4. Only 4/10. A 10th in it between gaining positions. It's kind of ridiculous actually if I say so myself. Anyway, on board with SFR Piastri as requested by Noodles. We're going to keep an eye on his onboard out here. And we're going to see if he can get himself up into the front row. Or even better, pole position. Let's see how he goes. Looked a little unsteady heading into that DRS zone actually, if I'm going to be honest. But we're going to see how he handles this braking zone. Hits apex nicely. Goes a little wide. But gets back on the throttle rather early. See how his Sector 1 time compares. 28.2. That looks pretty good. It's 3/10 up from when he set a lap earlier on. So he's definitely found time there. He's going to hit the curb there. He's going to go super wide. He's going to mount that whole sausage curb. He's going to almost like do an ollie over it. Isn't it an ollie? I don't know. But the downhill braking zone he goes a little wide on, but there's a few lines he can take down there, and he's actually taken a decent line through there. So that bodes very well for him. Half his car on the outside curb going in to give him all the space he needs, but he still gets a little wide. That's going to cost him quite a bit of time, if I say so myself. Can he keep it stable here and not lose the rear end? Yes, he keeps it stable. 106.3. Will he get onto the front row? It's difficult to say at this point in the lap. But yeah, Gasly is looking very quick and stable. Currently provisionally on pole. Isn't out. It's a bit too late for him to head out now, but we're going to see what Piastri can do with what is likely his single flying lap. Crosses the line, sets a 1:27.931. So even though that lap looked a little shaky, he set a purple third sector and set himself onto the second row of the grid. It's a mighty effort there from him, as Rango Killer does not improve. So that might be it for Rango Killer. So we're going to see Dimmer on an out lap. He's going to cross the line. He's going to have plenty of time on his side. McNeil's definitely made the wise choice to swap onto the soft compound tyre there. His time, a 1:28.074, is good enough for P5. So on the third row of the grid. Decent effort there. I have turned on the formation lap. Actually, no, I haven't. I've pranked you all. I've turned off the formation lap. I'm still concerned about it causing potential issues. Because, I mean, we know how buggy this game is. Unfortunately, it's likely going to cause some issues. See, Bremer. Bremer is up. So Bremer could snatch pole from NRL Gasly here. He's just got to nail this last corner here. A corner that can make or break a lap, absolutely, depending on how you nail the apex. Mounts the curb a little bit. His setup's friendly towards that. Comes out flying. Stroke Race is joined mid-session. Does he cross the lines? Bremer goes provisionally on pole. He's on pole with a 1:27.398. So Bremer puts it on pole when he means it. He meant he had full intention the entire session to put it on pole position, and he's absolutely shown stellar pace tonight with a 1:27.398. That is mighty there. That's 4/10 up. That's like 3.5 to 4/10 up from NRL Gasly. We have Piastri, who's unable to improve. In fact, he's slower right now. X laps doesn't improve. McNeil's is marginally, he's a fraction slower. X laps is in the pits. Dimmer has improved a little bit. He's 2/10 up. Bremer's just blown the gap wide open to get into the front row. But Dimmer crosses the line and goes P5 with a 1:28.021. It is fractions between the Mercedes drivers right now. In fact, this whole qualifying session has been mighty close. Barring Bremer, who's absolutely been dominant this session, everyone's within about 5/10 of each other, except for Rango Killer. But Rango Killer is still only a little under a second as McNeils goes very wide. I think he's ruined his lap. No, he's somehow gotten away with it. He set a one. Oh, and he loses it. I don't know if his lap was an improvement or not, but it looked like it. But bloody hell, Bremer, what a lap. That was a mighty lap there. And there's your top 9 for qualifying in Q3. Pole sitter, Bremer, for the first race of the season. Mighty effort there from him. The 1:27.398. That's incredible. That's rapid. Mighty impressed with Bremer there for that one. NRL Gasly alongside him on the front row. 3.5 tenths down. Looked like it was never in doubt, honestly. From that Q1 lap time, he set a 1:27.7 in Q1. And 5th on the mediums. So he's going to be on pole with a medium tyre. This is looking very good for Bremer. Piastri and X-Laps round out the second row. Mighty debut there from X-Laps. And Dimmer, also another debut on the third row. Claps for life on the fourth row. Rango Killer rounds out your top 9 for Q3. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We've now got the race underway when everyone, gets started. Everyone's got to accept. So. I'm going to screenshot just in case the game glitches. Still waiting. Not sure what the hold-up is. But, me leave? Really? Why do I... Hang on, does it sound the Discord for me to leave? Are you guys telling me to leave on the Discord? Yep. If he does leave and rejoin, see if him fixes. See if him leaving fixes this. And if not, then I'll restart it. Yeah, I know. Oh no, leave and join back. Just wait. Strike Race isn't leaving. Unbelievable.